Joining us now, Congresswoman Virginia Foxx, who was at that hearing. Congresswoman, always a pleasure to see you. What will politicians do to make up for the learning loss, the developmental loss, and the generational setback of children in this country because schools were closed for a year and a half or longer?
Well, Dagan, first we have to expose all this to the public because the Democrats were derelict in their duty in not having hearings on the effect of school closures. As you've seen, our committee, the Education Workforce Committee, we've held hearings and we've talked to people about this. The Oversight Committee's doing it. The Select Committee on China's doing it. Republicans are very interested in what's happening. We pushed back at the time against the closure of the schools. We saw the data, we saw the information, and we realized that COVID was not going to be detrimental to the students, and we wanted the schools to be reopened. We never really wanted them to close to begin with, but the Democrats would not hold the Biden administration accountable. All they want to do is kowtow to the unions and to the bureaucrats in the schools who were perfectly happy to go to Bermuda and go to the Caribbean and take a vacation while the students were suffering irreparable learning losses.
You know, Virginia, what frustrates me is the Democrats on the committee, because we now do know that masks didn't work. We know that social distancing didn't work. We know that the consequences of COVID were much less for kids. And instead of recognizing that as a Democrat and going, you know what, we made mistakes, let's learn from it for the next time, they just seem to be doubling down on their policies of the past that absolutely failed the kids of America.
Right. Oh, I think Dagan will like this little quip. Denial is not just the river in Egypt. They are continuing to deny the fact that there has been learning loss as a result of the schools being closed, and again, of their kowtowing to the union bosses and to the bureaucrats in the schools. We had the first loss ever in mathematics learning and years loss in reading, the most loss since 1990 as a result of the closure. We know that from the National Assessment of Education Progress. So they do continue to deny it. They would not hold any hearings at all on this subject. They don't want to be involved with it, and they're always going to look for outliers and people who will support their positions.
Congresswoman, I'm not going to even say we, taxpayers, what will kids in this nation get for the $122 billion that was sunk into education in the American Rescue Plan? We were already spending, we were the highest per student spending of any country in the developed world. And that $122 billion was the largest ever disbursement of federal funding for American schools ever. What are the kids going to get from it?
They're getting very little from that, Dagan. Again, the bureaucrats are going to get a lot out of it. They used it to supplant other money. They used it to build soccer fields, and they improved their buildings, they improved their offices, but the students got very little out of it. And again, they don't want to come to grips. They don't want the parents to be involved with the students' education. You know, we passed the Parents' Bill of Rights last week. Not a single Democrat voted for that bill, but we are going to continue to hold the bureaucrats and the Biden administration accountable in every way that we can.
We know
we're going to make sure the American people know who's responsible.
We know you will. I'm just nervous that Dagan's been buttering you up so much, Virginia, that I might not be your favorite on the bottom line anymore. That's concerning me, but we do appreciate you joining us and all your wisdom and all the fight you have as a North Carolina, gentle lady? What are you?
She is a Tar Heel.
That's what they call me, but
right.
you're not. That's right. Well, Dagan's a deek, so I know. Dagan, we got to get you to Winston-Salem.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thanks, Virginia.